Angus Taylor, thank you for your time. Of course, it's not just Liddell, of course. News today, Origin Energy is bringing forward the closure of the Illawarra coal plant near Lake Macquarie. We're now looking at a mass exodus of coal-fired power. Give us some confidence that Kurri, under your plan, this new gas plant, will be enough to guarantee supply and keep prices down.
Yeah, g'day Peter, and good to be with you. Look, yeah, the Illawarra plant is scheduled to be closed now in 2030. It was 2032, so there's many years to go to plan that. But there's a broader problem here, which is characterised by what we're seeing in Liddell, which is closure of these ageing coal-fired power stations, and in particular the need to run them far more flexibly because of so much household solar going on people's roofs. And because of having to run them flexibly, it's shortening their lives. So it's a very serious issue. We've got to get new capacity into the market, preferably flexible capacity, so something that can be turned on and off very quickly. And that's why gas generation is so attractive under these circumstances. It's dispatchable, it's flexible, it can bring prices down, it can keep the lights on, and that's why we're investing in the 660 megawatt generator in the Hunter Valley. Of course, Energy Australia has invested in a 300 megawatt, a little over 300 megawatt generator in the Illawarra. They announced that a week or two ago. So the two combined can ensure that we've covered the market for the closure of Liddell, but there will need to be more capacity coming in the lead up to 2030 because of the Illawarra shutdown. We've got time now to work on that, but this is all about affordable, reliable energy, those jobs in those critical energy-intensive industries like aluminium smelting, and of course making sure that households can make ends meet, because energy bills are such a big part of the costs of many people, particularly those less well off.
Well, just on aluminium, Tomago has had to, it's a big aluminium smelter for those who are not aware, it's had to halt production 3 times this week because of soaring power prices, including yesterday when wholesale prices were 100 times their normal level. Now, Tomago says supply shortages are the problem. What can be done right now ahead of this new gas-fired plant that you're building?
Well, it's a good question, Peter, and you're absolutely right. We've seen in the last week 3 separate occasions when Tomago has had to shut its smelter for 2 to 3 hours. If it shuts for more than 3 hours, it will never reopen. That's the nature of aluminium smelters, so it's a very serious situation for them. On all 3 occasions, the price spiked. Last night, for instance, it went from $41 to $14,000 almost instantly. Because we'd lost their household solar during the day, and we had one of the units from Liddell out. Now, this is why we have to have more gas generation coming into the market that can come in very quickly. That's what we'll get, of course, from this Kurri generator. But we do need to make sure our other generators are up to scratch, and we're working closely with the industry so we can get through to 2023, so Liddell doesn't have to have closures like we saw last night. And that's work we'll continue to do with the generators, including with Snowy, that's got a gas generator in the Hunter Valley that can play part of the role to address this issue.
Labor's energy spokesman Chris Bowen, he's your opposite number. He said this announcement today is a result of 8 years of policy failure and taxpayers aren't getting bang for the buck. I'd hasten to add, I don't think your Liberal colleague in New South Wales, Minister Matt Keane, has helped energy planning across the country, particularly New South Wales, either. What would you say back to Labor on this?
Well, of course, there's 2 very distinct voices in Labor. There's Chris Bowen, who's saying he doesn't like it. I think the Green Left have got hold of Chris Bowen and he's doing their bidding for them. But you've got Joel Fitzgibbon and Meryl Swanston, whose seat this generator will be in, who are very much in favour of it. I see Jeff Drayton, who's the Labor candidate in the Upper Hunter, is also in favour of it. So Labor is deeply divided on this issue. I think it's very ideological for them whether to focus on gas. But I would say, get beyond the ideology. We need generation coming in that's going to put downward pressure on prices, that's going to keep the lights on. It's absolutely essential, and that's what we're going to continue to focus on. Now, we would like the private sector to invest. We gave them the opportunity to do that in this case, and some of the investment to fill the gap is coming from Energy Australia. through this in the Illawarra, but we've had to fill the gap ourselves. We're looking forward to continuing to provide that strong incentive in the future to get that dispatchable generation into the market, or to keep our coal and gas and other dispatchable generators in the market for as long as we possibly can. We're doing work on that in parallel with making this investment. But ultimately, Peter, we are not going to sit by and allow what happened down in Victoria with Hazelwood, where we had a closure with no replacement, or Northern in South Australia, where we had a closure with no replacement. We're simply not going to sit by and allow that to happen.
I just want to pick up that point you talked there about intervening in the market, but it's come after market failure. I know some some purists would say there's no role for government here, but you gave industry plenty of notice, didn't you? And they just didn't pony up any investment to build this gas-fired power station. That's why you're in the market now.
Well, we made it very clear. We're losing 1,600 megawatts with Liddell, and we wanted 1,000 megawatts of replacement. That's what we modelled was necessary in order to contain prices. And it was clear from our work, if we don't get that 1,000 megawatts of replacement, the price will go up in the short term by 30% and more in the longer term. So we made it clear to industry. They had till the end of April to pony up, as you put it. Energy Australia did, and good on them. But AGL, that was planning or looking at building a gas generator up at Newcastle, pulled the pin. They've decided to split the company. They're going down a different pathway. There were lots of ideas around batteries, none of which have ever have come to fruition. So we've had to step up. I mean, this is very real. It's not theoretical. You know, when you lose a big generator, it must be replaced, and if it isn't, prices go up. We saw it. I mean, Peter, you were there and you observed it very closely, I'm sure, with Hazelwood. We saw a doubling of wholesale prices overnight when Hazelwood closed. Now, that's completely unacceptable. We lose manufacturing in this country. We lose our ability to make things, and we sting the people who can least afford it if that happens. So, you know, frankly, we won't stand by. We do want the private sector to play an increasing role in this, and we're making changes to encourage them to do that. But ultimately, we know we have to fill the gap if there is a gap.
Well, all credit to you, Angus Taylor. This is a great announcement today. I don't think there's any other option, as you say, and it's the only thing really for people and prices and keeping industry in this country. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Peter.